All right, we're live. Late, better late than never. We have here Jim, myself, Paul. Because our time was different, he had head off to do something else, so we won't have Paul with us right now. And if he jumps on, then we will punch him in. But other than that, we're going to get started. So, Jim, it's been a while. What is new with Jim?
Oh man. Well, I just took the family out on a trip. We went to Carlsbad Caverns. Did a little swimming this morning at Bottomless Lake. Came home to catch a live stream, but a lot of fun and adventure over here in Jim Kincade's world. So I'm just along for the ride, you know.
Now, where's Carlsbad Canyon? Where is that located in Texas?
Carlsbad Caverns is like the most epic cave you've ever seen. It's
Really?
yeah, Carlsbad, New Mexico.
Okay.
It's a national park, and it has like these gigantic stalagmites and stalactites. Some of them touch in between. I call those stalagfights. And you just walk around in the cave. You can take an elevator down, or you can hike into the cave. It's as deep as the Empire State Building is tall.
Oh, wow.
So I actually took the opportunity to test the Mudman
Mm-hmm.
GWG B1000 to see, how it would calculate my altitude being like below ground. And it seemed to be fairly accurate, you know, that it knew that, I was like 700 feet below the surface. And then I took the elevator up, and so that rose me up like 700 feet really quick. So that was, my watch was actually recording all of that. And so when you look at the Casio Watches app, it'll give you a graph of your altitude. So that was a pretty cool result. It was kind of an experiment to see what this new Mudmaster could do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna be making a video about that. So that's a little sneak peek on an upcoming video about the Mudmaster.
Yeah, I saw the chaotic unboxing, which was fun.
Yeah.
And now that's how is that one different from the Mudman? I mean,
Well,
all
it's
digital display is a big piece, but what?
yeah, it's like twice as expensive, and it has the uh
Yeah,
analog dial with a LCD sub dial. So it's like it's more premium. It's like the more components on it are metal.
hmm,
And so part of my testing, the next few weeks will be to determine, how it actually compares to the Mudman, since the Mudman is my favorite watch, and to see whether it's worth the extra money.
right.
And a lot of commenters are checking in saying how much they love the Mudmaster. And so it's a really popular watch on of all the guys who checked in on YouTube
Hmm.
on my chaotic unboxing. So it's definitely a fan favorite. I got it because so many guys have been telling me to get it. In the comments, they've been jumping in, telling me I have to try it out, and I'm glad I got it. It took a while to save up for it because it retails at $800.
Wow. Okay.
So it's not a cheap one at all.
No.
And so the question I'm exploring is it worth $800? Is it worth spending so much more over the Mudman to wear a Mudmaster? You know,
Right. Yeah.
and is it really durable? Well, there's only one way to find out.
All right. First impression, like, where would you say Mudman versus Mudmaster? Would you right now? There's the newness to it, so there's
Yeah.
like new shiny things always get a little more attention. But are you impressed? Just initially impressed?
Yes, I am impressed. It definitely feels premium,
Yeah.
because it's like a lot of the details are just like well thought out, and there's a lot of metal components, and so it definitely feels like a premium G-Shock. It's not like buying, one of those Walmart G-Shocks where you're just trying to get, you know, like a tough, inexpensive watch. This one definitely feels like you wear an expensive watch, and it doesn't have a lot of the problems that other G-Shocks have. Like the loom is actually pretty good,
Mm-hmm.
and the watch hands are very big. It has a seconds hand, so it has a lot of the things that G-Shocks typically do not have, and so it definitely feels premium.
Mm-hmm.
That's my first impression. Just it
Yeah.
has a lot of wow factor.
Now, which strap is longer, the Mudman or the Mudmaster?
See, on my wrist, the Mudman's a little bit longer. Like
Yeah.
when I put this one on, I had on the very last notch, and so when I was hiking, when you hike, how your wrist kind of expands a little bit,
Yeah.
when you get warm. And so the Mudmaster was feeling kind of tight, and I didn't have another notch to, you
Yeah.
know, uh, to
I
loosen
saw
up a
that.
little bit.
Yeah. I saw that when you put it on. I was like, oh man, he
Yeah,
is like right at the very end of that. And that's something that, like you always call it the big wristers out there.
yeah.
Um, if you are
It's
like,
not
you're
the
hanging
best
on
for
by
a
the end
big
of
wrister.
Yeah.
But I think that with the Mudmaster, a lot of G-Shock guys were complaining in the previous iterations that it was just, the watch was just too big. The Mudmaster was just too big. Like the GWG 2000 and I think it's like the GGB 100,
Mm-hmm.
that they're just too big. So if you had like an average or below average size wrist, you weren't going to like the Mudmaster. But this Mudmaster, I think that if you have like an average or a smaller size wrist, I think that it would probably wear a little bit better because the whole thing is more diminutive than other Mudmasters, and this is based on uh what other guys have said, because I only tried on the GWG 2000 at the store. I never owned any other Mudmaster. This is my first Mudmaster.
Yeah. I gotta say, I like the looks of it. My initial impressions of it, I like it a lot. And we'll get into when we start talking about our summertime watches.
Oh yeah,
I'll share you a photo of one that I really like that goes along with that one. But I like
yeah,
when you unbox that. I was like, that's an attractive watch. The price is kind of
yeah.
steep, but
Sure is.
like it. I don't know. Some of those higher end watches that Casio has, they're worth it. Some of them are like, wow, what's really there that really is worth thousands and thousands of dollars? Some of those high end Casios are just like, I don't
Yeah.
think so. I don't think I can go that far. So,
Well,
all right. So let's jump into the summertime watch scene. And I've
oh
got your
yeah,
three watches coming up. We've got your picture, your photo, and then we got your watch, photo, watch, photo, watch, just so that we're aware of that. And you all ready?
let's do it.
All right. Now, where
All
is
right.
this?
Well, some of the viewers may recognize this. This is on Mount Washington. And if you couldn't tell, you could read the sign that it's like signposts at different parts of Mount Washington, like Tuckerman's Ravine.
Okay.
And it looks like this is pretty close to the summit. Not my photo. I just want to give credit to someone who posted this online, but uh, you know, summer, great time for hiking up mountains. I love
Yeah.
hiking. So the White Mountains is where, I started hiking in Mount Monadnock, Hurricane Mountain, and Mount Lafayette. In addition to Mount Washington, fantastic places to hike. And so you're going to want a watch with an altimeter. And
Mm-hmm.
so, for picking a summer activity, and a watch that goes with it when it comes to hiking, especially up a mountain, get the Mudmaster, you know, GWG B1000, and I got the phone is there next to it because a lot of these functions on this Bluetooth enabled Mudmaster are going to require your phone, and so I know that some people aren't excited about that, but who's kidding who? Everybody brings his phone when he hikes nowadays. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Do you?
I do. Yeah. I mean, it's another tool. It's actually a really good tool because of the GPS functions that are on it. Cell signals are so prevalent nowadays versus 15 years ago. A lot more places you could have cell coverage for safety reasons. Like, there's a lot of good reasons to bring a phone,
Yeah.
but extra battery pack and all that. Whatever you can, especially if you're going
Right.
out in a very remote area. But
Yeah.
when you wear this watch, you have other watches that have outdoor functions on it.
Mhm.
Do you use the Bluetooth function on your phone? Do you use the altimeter compass, the ABC altimeter barometer compass functions on your watch?
Yeah. Well, hiking, just to get an idea of how high we're going, mostly so we can complain about it or bug my kids, kind of make dad comments about how steep, you know, wherever you're climbing up is. But yeah, I mean, like, so other ABC Casio watches, like your Pro Treks and the Mudman and the Rangeman, you got to calibrate them. If they're not calibrated, you can tell, you can get an idea of how much ascent or descent that you're going through while you're hiking, just based on the differential. But to have an absolute value for your altitude, the watch has to be calibrated,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
so this Mudmaster with its Bluetooth enabled functions has the advantage of calibrating based on GPS signal. You know,
Does that calibrate the compass for declination
I haven't tested
automatically?
that yet.
Okay.
Uh, like, so this trip that I did, just yesterday, I intended to test the compass and this altimeter,
Hmm.
but it's not very intuitive. Like, I was standing there in the parking lot reading the manual, trying to figure it out. So the compass with like, from what I read in the instructions, this Mudmaster, if you set a waypoint, the subdial will point back to the waypoint and will tell you the distance to that waypoint.
Really? Ooh,
Yes. I
that's
couldn't.
slick. That's slick.
Yeah, I couldn't get it to work. Obviously I did something wrong because sitting there in the parking lot reading the manual, while the kids are running around wanting to hike, be like, hey, hold on, don't actually start hiking. Daddy has to read the manual to his watch. Doesn't go over that well.
Yeah.
But with it being hooked up to the Bluetooth, you can enter what's called mission log, where it's gonna get your GPS coordinates at certain
Wow.
intervals, record your altitude and your position, and so it's supposedly it's updating your altitude, so you don't have to keep on entering in the offset for the altimeter.
Yeah.
You
Which
know,
subdial does the directional, like, point you back towards where you started? Like, is it the 9 o'clock or the 3 o'clock?
the 3 o'clock
3 o'clock.
has that triangle,
Yeah.
and that triangle, from what I understand, I haven't tested it, would point to your waypoint. So the seconds hand will point north,
Okay.
and the subdial. Now, like I said, I didn't actually get it to work, so I could be wrong, but from what I understand, that's what's happening. And then on the left subdial at the 9 o'clock position is plus or minus. So if you had the altimeter going on, it would show you rising or falling. It's
Okay.
kind of hard to see, but the dial's split up where it has, like 0 right there in the middle, and then plus or minus going up or down.
Right. Right. Okay.
So, a lot to explore on the Mudmaster, and that is the ongoing project on my YouTube channel.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna try and
That's.
figure it out, and then after we put it all together, make kind of like a tutorial.
Hmm.
Because it's not intuitive. I mean, I don't think you'd really pick up the watch and be able to figure out how to do all this stuff.
Right. Is there another um, indicator underneath the hour hand that's in yellow in that photo? Or is that just
Yes. So when you're scrolling through the using the mode button and you're going through the different functions of the watch, when the watch goes back to the main time, it will briefly point at the battery level. So the yellow part you're seeing is kind of a danger zone for the battery level.
Okay. Okay. All right. I didn't know if that was a design feature, if that was an indicator. Well, I'm interested in that watch. I think that's something that the Bluetooth, love it or hate it. You know, if it's easy, it helps. If you can do most, if not all, of the watch functions on the watch without the phone, huge plus. I
Yeah,
struggle with the Bluetooth functions that only live on the phone, especially there's
right.
a lot of them. And it's like, man, now you really have to have that phone with you all the time. But maybe I'm just old that way. But
Well, I mean, I think I mean my theory about all this is that you're going hiking, you're definitely going to be bringing your phone for safety reasons, and I'd like not to take my phone out at all.
hmm
So you can stash your phone in your backpack,
hmm
and it's doing what it's doing in the background. You don't have to take it out at all, and you can just look at your watch for information.
yeah, nice. All right, up next, keeping with a theme.
Yes, mud. Mud is, the primary ingredient in the summertime. You're going to get out there, you're going to get dirty. It's when it rains, you're not going to let it stop you from whatever your summer activity is. So the mud is the common theme for all summer activities. So wear the Mudman, the GW 9500, still my favorite watch, standalone watch, no Bluetooth, big huge numerals on there telling you the time. And the Mudman is just a rugged G-Shock watch. And so that's the one that I recommend if your summer activity is going to get you dirty.
Yeah, yeah. How many videos do you think you've done on this watch? A dozen?
Well, you add in like the YouTube shorts, probably done hundreds. It's
Yeah.
just it's a watch that I grab, going to work, or like I said, doing anything that's going to get me dirty or going to get the watch banged up, you know,
Right.
and
Right.
big huge numbers, easy to read. So
hmm
that's the go-to watch. So yeah, I've made a lot of videos on YouTube about the Mudman GW 9500.
Yeah, I was just wearing that watch a week ago for a few days, and it takes a little getting. The strap needs to get broken in. That's for sure.
Definitely.
It's a stiff strap. But other than that, I mean, it really has everything that you're talking about. Like it's easy to read. The ABC functions are on there for outdoor stuff, and the light is really good. And is there a
Yeah.
light on the Master? There has to be one, right?
Yeah, the Mudmaster, yeah, it has the LED that shines onto the analog dial and then the LED that illuminates the LCD subdial.
Okay. All right. All right, man. You're giving me a great lead into the watch I have to show. So,
Yeah.
all right. Anything else on the Mud Man?
Yeah, like you said, it does require a break-in period. I think diesel softens us up a little bit, but
If you want to accelerate the process, just dunk it in some diesel somewhere.
yeah, there you go.
All right. Moving on. I don't understand this picture at all, but
Yeah.
got it in there.
Yeah. Summer. Time for your first summertime job. Remember
Okay.
that one? Well,
Okay. Yeah. All right.
this
I
guy at
can
a
follow
grocery store that my first summertime job, stocking shelves and ringing
that.
up or bagging groceries at Stop and Shop, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like, that summer job, like my oldest son, he's 19, so as soon as he got off from his college, he's out there working his summertime job, racking up that dough that he can have some money to do some things during the school year and to
Yeah.
pay for tuition and everything. So, I mean, once you're a teenager, you got to get that summertime job. And so get the AE 1500 because it's an inexpensive watch, right?
Yeah.
You can buy it you go walk into Walmart and walk out of there with it for about $22. huge numbers,
Yeah.
easy to read. You don't want to be late, not to your first job, not when you're trying to prove how punctual you are, how good of a worker you are, you know. So Casio AE 1500. If it's summertime, you get a summertime job, you're a young buck, don't have a lot of money, you're gonna like this one.
Yeah. Yeah. That watch, it's an outstanding watch. I have so many Casios. This is one I don't wear very often. It's so good at being a very high legible display, but there's just not much else to it. Like it's such a good basic watch. Like you're saying, like it's a
Yeah,
cheap watch, it's a basic watch. It does all the basic things really well and
right.
really quick. And this one has, I think you have highlighted this, doesn't it come in two different length straps?
Yeah, I found that out the hard way because I bought mine at Walmart and it has a really long strap, like really long, probably the like I think it would compete against the GBDH 2000 for the longest strap. But then some commenters were saying that they were buying one from Amazon and the strap was different than what I was showing.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
so so apparently there's different strap options. So I guess if you have to have that long one, buy it from Walmart.
Yeah. Okay. Is there a different designation on the model number for that? Or is that just off the top of your head? I mean, that's
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, the one that I have ends it says AE 1500 WH, I believe. I'd have
okay.
to find it, but there are some letters at the end for
Okay.
the band, and so yeah, I think that's a good point. I think that I ought to clarify that, make a separate video about that because I hate for someone to need that extra long band, buy it off of Amazon and get the wrong one.
Yeah.
But
Or
yeah,
well, now it's a super long band and you're in a pinch and your fan belt goes out in your car. You could always use a strap on your
yeah,
8400.
yeah. Maybe not on a pickup, but if you got a Corolla or a Subaru
Yeah,
or
so a small
something,
compact car.
yeah, you can use the AE 1500 for your serpentine belt, no problem.
Yeah. Those are good watches. I like those. So you've got two digital and one anti-digi.
Yep.
Um, what about like comfort when it comes to a summertime watch? Uh, is there anything about the designs that you're looking for, sweat or just heat? Or some people don't like wearing metal because the sun beats down on the metal, heats it up on their
Oh
wrist,
yeah.
that kind
Yeah,
of
that's
thing.
a
Is there
good.
anything you look for in a summertime watch?
Well, if you're talking about sweat management, the watch with the best sweat management is the GBDH 2000
Yeah,
because the underside has like little channels
yeah,
built into the strap that if you are sweaty, it's going to allow that sweat to channel out rather than just pool up under the watch.
yeah,
So comfort levels really high on the GBDH 2000, and a lot of them are on sale, like Amazon and elsewhere, depending on what color you're looking for. Like if you don't mind the yellow band, some of them, are they're at deep discount from the retail price.
yeah,
Uh, but that one's probably the best. Very light watch, and it's intended to be a fitness watch. So I think that if you know heat and sweat is the consideration, the GBH 2000 is the way to go.
yeah. Do you have any watches that are colorful that you wear more in the summertime, or you think you might wear more in the summertime?
Well, the G Shock has that fine metallic series, and you
Mhm.
mentioned about the metal bracelets being too hot. Well, the fine metallic series has like a silicone underside, and then the band is made to look like metal. So if you wanted that look of metal without the hot bracelet, the fine metallic series is the way to go. They have silver, they have 3 or 4 silver watches, and then uh, three gold watches of the fine metallic.
You gonna go gold anytime soon, Jim?
Man, I tried the gold. I don't think that it works on me. I'm gonna sell my gold fine metallic on Facebook Marketplace,
Yeah.
but I'm keeping the silver one.
Yeah,
Can
the
hold it
silver
up for
one
you.
looks nice. I like that one.
Yeah.
That's
Uh
the 2100 series, yeah. And that's
guys
really a
in
good point. That's a good point
guys
that
in
you
the
bring up the
comments
silicone backing.
Yeah. See the silicone
Yeah,
on the inside?
think of that.
So guys in the comments was like, "Oh, it doesn't look that nice." But, when I wear it, like I was wearing it to church, it's like one of my church watches,
Yeah.
and some guys thought in person they thought it looked pretty good. So maybe it's one you just have to try on to see if you can pull it off or not.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting combination on the strap. Um, any kind of flaking or anything that's coming off of the whatever the metallic laminates they have on there, is there anything kind of breaking down on that watch at all, or is it holding up pretty well?
No. I read an article on the G-Shock website about the development that went into this band, and the designers spent 10 years trying to match the color of the bezel to the band and that it would have a durable band. So I wore it to work and I got it really dirty. I was just working on equipment and allowing the watch and the band to just hit everything, while I'm turning wrenches
Yeah.
and ratchets and everything. And the metal bezel is very scratched up to prove that it's been through the ringer, and it's the band is held up very well. Like very faint scratches you can barely see, so it still looks really nice.
I'm impressed. That's a watch I would never have thought about getting, and I'm glad you picked it up because now I'm seriously thinking about like it's sometimes gold, silver. I think gold at some point in my life will probably come back, and because gold
Yeah,
was around back in the '80s,
right.
so it might just end up back on my wrist. But that watch, you opened my eyes up to a new watch with that watch. I like that. So, all right, I got a couple.
All right.
Here we go. First one. Oh, wait, here we got back up. We got to put this on. Here we go. A couple clicks here. Yeah, the Zelos. This is a mechanical watch. This is the Hammerhead. This is a bronze case, and it is one of my favorite dive watches. Now, that dial is a full lume dial, and it is a nightlight when it comes to once it's loomed up, once it's charged up with UV light, it will last all night. Blacked out handset, which I think is really important with a full lume dial. When you get lume on the handset, then the handset starts to kind of blend in with the dial. It's a little bit harder to differentiate where the hands are and the indices and all that stuff. So this is one of my favorite summertime watches. It's a dive watch. Dive watches, I think, just kind of lend themselves to summertime use. I mean, that's kind of, beaches and water and lakes and stuff like that. So dive watches are part of that. But this one has that bronze case, which has patinaed, and it's really cool. I love the patina on this watch. It just has that old look to it. And from when I got it, I think I have a photo of it. I don't have it on the slideshow here, but I think I have a photo of it when it was brand new and how shiny it was and where it is now. It's like, I really like the way it is now. I like that patina. Seiko NH35 movement in there. So it has the date and time and pretty basic movement on the inside, pretty standard, but it's also durable. And if anything ever fails with it, swap out the movement. And for $35, if you're comfortable putting the handset on, it's not that big of a deal. So really, it's kind of that working man's watch, but it's such a unique watch. This is the most popular watch that I get offers to buy it because it's a limited edition watch. All the Zelos watches are limited edition. They make a round of them and then they're done. And this one has gotten a lot of attention as I showcase it here and there. And like, what do you want for it? It's like, I'm not selling it. I'm not trading it. I'm not doing anything with it. This is one of my favorite all-time watches. So if I were to pick a top 5 or top 10, this would be in the top 5 or top 10 for sure. It has all the stuff I love about it. The bezel action is really good too. So I like it. I like it a lot. And
That thing looks sick. That looks really nice. And that's a good picture too.
Yeah. And the strap, I mean, you talk about comfort on the strap. Really comfortable rubber strap, extremely flexible. It's a little thick, so as far as durability goes, I have no issues. This strap's going to last a long time, but it has kind of that racing strap look to it. So breathability wise, getting water off your wrist and and not creating this really big wet spot under your wrist for a long period of time. It's all good. Joanne, nice to see you. So yeah, this is, and it's one of my favorite all-time watches. And for summertime, I have been wearing it more and more. I don't wear it as much in the wintertime. And for me, it's a little bit more like a metal watch. I tend not to wear them as much in the middle of winter or in the middle of summer. But anywhere else during the seasons, I'll wear metal case watches, metal bracelet watches, all that. It's just they're really cold and they're really hot. That's just something I've noticed about myself. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's interesting. I mean, besides like the comfort level on the metal bracelet, it's like, in the wintertime when it's really cold, like I don't know, you kind of like shrink a little bit, So
yeah,
it's like if you have a fitted bracelet, it's kind of loose, right?
yeah, absolutely. And for me, I don't buy, frankly, metal bracelet watches without the micro adjustable clasp, the micro
Yeah,
adjust clasp. So
the
you
on
can
the
adjust on the
fly.
fly. Yeah, adjust on the fly. That's the word. Um, and so that's like a standard for me now because I don't want to have the tools out. I don't want to use the end of a pen or something or a mechanical pencil to move that micro adjust bar back and forth on the older versions of that. But yeah, the adjust on the fly clasps are a huge advantage, and they're really just as good as the straps. And sometimes you get a little bit better fine tuning with one of those versus a strap. Sometimes some of the straps,
Right.
Casios are notorious for this. Like the jumps between holes is pretty significant. Um, so
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
this is a fun one, and I think this one is. I want to say it's 200 meters of water resistance. I don't remember if
Oh,
it's higher
so
than
it's a
that, but
true diver.
it's a true diver. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not dive certified. It has the sapphire crystal on it. I mean, you're not going to go down 200 meters anyway. But if you're going to use this for skin diving or snorkeling or even some moderate, scuba diving, this watch will definitely take care of you on that. And
Yeah.
the crown on this is so easy to manipulate, in and out. Like screw it down, unscrew it. The threads on are really nice. Zelos does such a good job on their construction of their
Mm.
watches. Love it. So yeah, I have a hard time letting this one get out of my sight.
Yeah, I know you like that bronze.
Oh, it's good stuff, and it's a heavier metal too. It's more dense. So this is Steel Dive. This is another mechanical. This is under $100. Mechanical, NH35 movement. Very very good loom. This is all night loom as well. I should have put a loom shot with next to each one of these just so you can see what it looks like at night. But just a classic Willard style case from Seiko, and of course it's all homaging the Seiko and the whole thing, but really easy to read. This is about as light of a dial color wise for contrast as I'd go, because the indices you start to lose them a little bit, especially if I'm not wearing my reading glasses. But it's such a fun watch, and at the price, it's super cheap. It's made by Steel Dive, so it's one of the AliExpress watches that's out there. But the downside to this one is the crown guards. It is really hard to get your fingers on the crown because you have so big of a crown guard on there. You can only just get the top and just get the bottom. So the positive side of that is really hard to unscrew it accidentally. The downside is it's really hard to unscrew it intentionally.
Yeah,
So,
I could see that. I mean, just looking at this picture, it's like you'd have to like get your fingers really skinny just to get them on there, you
yeah,
know?
you're like getting in there. Hey, guess I didn't show you what I'm wearing.
Oh, is that the GBDH 2000?
That's the GBDH 2000.
Yeah, see?
Yeah,
So
buddy.
so comfy. That's the one you picked up today.
Oh man, I've been wearing it nonstop for like 3 days. I've been doing a lot of outdoor work,
Yeah.
but yeah, you're right. Like you have to get your fingers like it's kind of awkward. You almost have to take the watch off to unscrew the crown, which I'm not a fan of. I'd like to. That might be another piece that I add to a review when I do mechanical watches. Like, can you manipulate the crown while it's on your wrist
Right.
without having to take it off? man, I could go back and do there's some watches I have that probably would have hit that standard. But action on the bezel is awesome. Lines up as you can see in the photo. It's really for under $100. This watch is another favorite, and I love the yellow. It's kind of that egg yolk yellow, which I think is not too bright. It's not too dull. Got that summertime color to it. That nylon strap, I used to have that on there. Now I've gone back to a engineer bracelet, and it's not adjust on the fly clasp on it, which but what can you do? I'm not going to go back and buy these adjust on the fly clasps for all these watches that I have. I probably have 20 of these mechanical watches with bracelets on them, so that would be a pretty big upgrade for a lot of watches. But in the future, like I won't buy one of these watches without it. It's such a good feature to have.
Yeah, I don't understand why, I'm a fan of the G-Shocks, but then like the really expensive G-Shocks do not have on the fly adjustment,
Yeah.
And they're charging, $5,000 for G-Shocks that have the clasps, but no on the fly adjustment, which boggles my mind because shelling out that much money, I would demand an on the fly adjustment,
Yeah,
for
sure. That to me is like I said, it's a standard. Like it's if AliExpress can charge $30 more, $40 more for the on the fly adjustable clasp, then all these watches, like just put it on there. It's so
Yeah.
much easier to use once you get, in the ballpark with the size. And like you say, with a lot of activity or when you're sitting down, it's cold out, like you can cover all that. It's super easy. I don't know.
Yep.
It's just such a no brainer in my mind, but I don't know the companies. I just buy their products.
Yeah, we gripe about it online.
Exactly. Last one.
Oh, sweet.
Yes, the Pathfinder. So this is the cheaper version of the Mud Master. It's from what I've heard. So this has all the features with the exception. This is an older model. This is like 4 years old now. So it doesn't have Bluetooth. It has the ABCs, altimeter, barometer, compass. What else is there? It has if you notice, so Jim, now look at your watch. See the handset on here, and you look at the display. It has that negative display. Yours is negative display, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a lot of similarities in there between this and the Mud Master. So this is the non-G-Shock base model, I think, for the Mud Master when it comes to the overall layout. But
yeah, it's like the Chevy, and then the Mud Master's like the Cadillac.
Oh man, for sure. Hold yours up now because I want to see some differences. I've been wanting. All right. So does your 9? So you have 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock. What numbers do you have on the dial?
Well, on this Mud Master, they moved the numbers off the dial in order to put the sub dials.
So you have the 12 and that's it?
12 and 6.
You have the 12 and 6. Okay. All
right. But I think that Pro Trek looks fantastic. With the numbers like they are, it's just it has such character. It's like you have it propped up there on that rifle, and that's perfect because it's kind of like an operator's watch, like a special forces type of deal,
So calm. Yeah. This watch is getting to be, I think they still sell it. I think they still sell this model on Amazon like this. But I want to say that you're not going to see these as often as you did like 5 years ago. This is becoming a little bit more difficult, I think, to come by. Because it's one of the interesting things about it, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it's okay. It works, is the screw down crown at the 3 o'clock position. That's where you make a lot of adjustments. So if you want to go up or down in numbers, in numerical value, you unscrew the crown, and that's where you make that adjustment on there. So you can do all the adjustments. This is not Bluetooth. So everything you do on here for alarm, timer, all that stuff is done through that adjustable crown. It's kind of like the adjustment wheel, so to speak. for it. So if you can't use the buttons to like the traditional digital displays, you're moving up and down using buttons. The dial itself or the crown does a pretty good job of it. It's just kind of I'm not used to it. I think that's my objective answer to it is I'm not used to it.
Right. You're not
I
used to
worry.
it. And then like if it's not screwed in all the way, then you're not
That's
going to
what I was
have the
just
same level of water resistance.
That's what I was just gonna say. I worry about it not being screwed down just like a mechanical watch. So, but I love this watch. This is my favorite watch. If I was down to one watch, this would be it. It has everything, and it's also a low profile watch. So the G
Yeah.
Shocks, not the GBDH 2000 is. I think you called it a meatball, didn't you? Or was that the Rangeman?
Yeah, that was the GPRH 1000 is like wearing a meatball.
I would say, relatively speaking, this is my meatball in my collection. It is tall, but at the same time, I get it. I get why it's tall. But the Pro Track is, as far as like the the uh, the slimness factor of it, it has a good set of proportions to it when it comes to the diameter of the case versus the height off the wrist. So
Yeah.
the chunkiness factor is actually pretty low. It's way above most, I would say most Casios that I have that are not really small, the small model kind Casios. This is actually has a pretty good chunkiness factor. So it has a high number, which is good. You take
Right.
the diameter of the case divided by the height off the wrist. So proportionally, I love the look of it. It covers a
Yeah.
lot of real estate on the wrist. And this is one thing I noticed about this watch. It's kind of a warm watch to wear when you have that big of a dial. I think it's a 52 millimeter dial. I think it's low 50s. And then you have a solid rubber strap, and that rubber strap is extremely flexible. It's super comfortable to wear, but it has no breathability in it whatsoever.
Right.
So, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it looks so cool. And the G Shocks, they add like the crenellated bezel, so that adds a lot to the thickness. And these
yeah,
Pro Treks, they have a sleek bezel that really doesn't have any sort of doesn't stand proud at all from the glass,
yeah,
so makes it really thin, goes under the sleeve, but then you might run into problems scratching it up.
yeah. I wonder, and I want to hear your opinion on this, but it's almost like a give and take. You make the GBDH 2000 with all the stuff on the top, okay? It protects the crystal and everything else on the top. Does that catch more because it's taller on the wrist than a watch that's more sleek on the wrist? Like, do you kind of create the problem by making it taller on the wrist?
That's a really good question because, like,
Curiosity I have, because you look at this watch.
yeah,
This watch is, at the time of this photo, I think it was 2 years old, and that's it. And I was wearing it a lot. I wore
yeah,
it almost exclusively for a year, 9 months for sure. And
right,
there's some scratches up at the 12 o'clock, but other than the slag from welding that ended up on the crystal, which I'm not going to fault ProTrek for getting small marks in there from when I
yeah.
was welding with it, but there's no
They need a
scratches on there.
they need a
So
welder's watch.
yeah, so yeah, that's my list. That's your list too. So
Yeah, that's a good one. I got something to say about you saying the availability of this particular Pro Trek.
yeah,
Like I would say that if you're at all interested in getting a Pro Trek like this, I'm thinking that you should because there was a Pro Trek that was available on Amazon that the subdials and everything. It's a new one. It's supposed to be released today. The PRW B1000. It looks like my Mudmaster, same subdials and everything, and because it has that B in the model number, I'm thinking that they're bringing all the Pro Treks over to the Bluetooth paradigm now.
yeah.
So if you wanted a non-Bluetooth Pro Trek, you might want to get it now while you can.
That's a really good point. I didn't even think of that. That's that would be worthy of a brief research piece. Like, how many Pro Treks are left, or even kind of that mid-range Casio, that $300 range on up to like $600 range? How many of those are left that are not Bluetooth at all?
Yeah.
That would be worthy of a good quick look at Amazon or Casio's website, because
Yeah.
it's, you're right. One of the things I love, this is one watch think about a watch that you didn't put up there, Jim. Okay, the number 4 that you didn't put on the list. Here's my number 4, the GD350, the Grunt.
Mm.
The GD350, I love it because of the vibrate alert,
Yes,
or
sir.
the alarm, the timer. I have grown to love that watch. If it was just a little bit better on the proportions, so a little not quite as tall, or just somehow the proportion. It's a really chunky watch. It's, it's just under the GBDH 2000 as far as chunkiness goes.
Hmm.
But that watch, man, that vibrate alert is so. I'm learning to love that more and more and more. Where
Yeah.
no audible alarm, it just vibrates on the wrist. Does that
Why?
Mudmaster, does that have a vibrate function to it?
No, sir. It does not. It does have a more distinct alarm, like the hourly chime and the alarm is different than my other G-Shocks. That's notable. No vibration though. GBDH 2000, the vibration. DWH 5600 has the vibration. Rangeman GPR H1000. So, I mean, you like the vibration alarm. Like, I get a lot of comments about the vibration alarm. A lot of guys want it. And once you have that vibration alarm watch, that it's very useful because you can be notified without everybody else having to hear a beeping watch, you know?
And that's okay. You brought up the point that I think is valuable, and that is the hourly chime. How many of your Casios that are non-vibrate alerts do you have the hourly chime active?
I turn the hourly chime on all mine.
You have
No.
them on?
I do, but I know a lot of guys don't. Obviously, you just revealed that you do not. You are not an hourly chimer. No.
I'm not. No, no, and part of it is I don't want to be in a situation where it goes off and it's kind of a quiet situation, because I don't know what situations I'm going to get into. Well,
Yeah.
most of the time I do, but sometimes you walk into a bank or whatever, or library. I'm just making it up, and that hourly chime goes off.
Yeah.
But with a vibrate alert, I can be talking and it'll vibrate, and I'll know it's like, oh, it's 4 o'clock, or it's 2 o'clock, or it's whatever the time is,
Yep.
and nobody else knows. It just, for me, I love that feature, and then alarms and timers and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, uh there's that YouTube channel with that guy who takes apart his watches. I want to say it's G-Shock High Fashion. Uh I can't remember but he took out the little vibration module. It's pretty big. So I think that's why the GD 350 and the GPR H1000 are big, is that, they can add that vibration alarm.
Mhm.
But Casio, they need to get a smaller little vibration unit because our phones vibrate like crazy and they're paper thin nowadays.
Right. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, the phone has no problem with making a vibration, and way thinner. So, all right, Jim, what do you got left? What's coming up?
Well, I just saw in the comments that the G-Shock Dojo has chimed in, and he's a Mudman aficionado, and he mentioned the PRW 35, which is like the Pro Track version of the Mudman. So you can see that the G-Shock Dojo is a man of excellent taste, and I agree with him bringing up the PRW 35. And the problem is that it doesn't come over to the United States. You want that watch, the PRW 35, you got to go to eBay or Buy or somewhere that's going to import that watch for you. And I saw that they have a luminescent PRW 35, meaning that like the back reflective screen has glow in the dark. Did you see that, Tim?
I haven't seen that yet. That sounds
I'll
interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like you don't have to press the light button. It has a light button, you can press it, but they have that PRW 35 with that glow in the dark back to it. So I guess like if it's charged up, you just look down at your wrist and read the digital time. So hopefully we get that over here in the United States.
Wow. It's a cool idea.
Yeah.
It seems to me like Casio's kind of hit the wall on some of its innovative features. And I think part of the smartphone is kind of taking over some of that. There's so many things
Yeah.
that you can on a smartphone that it used to be, you know, the pulsometer and some of the other things that they have on a Casio watch. You could take pictures with a watch. You could take the temperature. There's different Casios, and they're all kind of like single function watches too. Like you don't have multiple functions on a watch like that. But it just seems like they're kind of in a funk when it comes to functionality with Casios.
Yeah.
Like they're kind of repackaging different things, but that luminescent piece sounds interesting. That sounds innovative.
Well, yeah, I mean, innovative for the 90s, right? I mean, yeah, I think you're right. I think that like there's a lot to say about Casio and G-Shock and about kind of like the quandary they're in, you know, wanting to make just basic watches like for us, like we're demanding watches with no Bluetooth, but then there's a whole segment demanding watches that compete with Garmin and Apple. And so it's they can't, it's kind of like a lose-lose scenario, you know?
True.
It's interesting to analyze like where they are as a business and where what they can do moving forward. Because obviously, I would like to see them make basic standalone watches masterfully, you know, and but I mean they must feel the pressure to compete with innovation, and unfortunately they're lagging way behind Garmin because Garmin and Apple, they're selling computers you wear on your wrist, you know, and the Casios and the G-Shocks are definitely not computers.
Yeah.
You know, they're watches, you know.
But you can get a watch like this. This is the GBDH 2000, and this one goes almost a month before I charge it. Now I've been doing a lot more exercising work, so I'm assuming the GPS function is going to get like 3 weeks out of it. You know, 2.5 weeks. But I'm impressed with some of Casio's work on battery longevity, and they match it up with some solar assistance there, which is helpful. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so that's pretty cool. You got anything coming up on your channel? You got the
Yeah.
Mudmaster. That's gonna be the big one.
Mudmaster, lots of tests on the Mudmaster functionality tests, and then after that will be durability tests, and then after that, putting the Mudmaster head to head with the Mudman, and putting the Mudmaster head to head against the Citizen ProMaster Land, the
Oh, that's
U822, which is Citizen jumped the gun for the having an MIP subdial on an analog watch. They beat G-Shock to that. So which I thought was pretty crazy. I got the ProMaster Land and it's a really good looking watch. So eventually we're going to pit that one against the Mudmasters. So lots of content and you know, I'm a YouTuber who makes his videos, you know, whenever I can squeak out a video, you know, work and life and stuff keeps me very busy. And then to try and run a YouTube channel on top of that, as you can imagine, is pretty difficult, but that's the goal. And what I can achieve out of that goal, you know, Lord willing, we'll make a bunch of videos, but that's the agenda.
right. Right. I've got Dave Robeson from Just the Watch.
Oh,
He's
nice. He's
yeah
in
next
Japan,
week.
right?
Yeah, he's in Japan. So July 8th, when he's on, it's gonna be the 9th, which is weird. I was scheduling with him, the time and the date, and he reminded me,
Yeah.
oh, that'll be Wednesday for me. Like, oh, that's right. That international date line. So that'll be next Tuesday, so a week from today.
Oh,
And
nice. I'm
talk with
gonna
him about his
bookmark
date.
that one.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be good because that's not really about watches primarily. We'll start off talking about watches, kind of break everything in as an intro, but we're gonna get into his faith story because he's in the mission field over in Japan, and I've talked with him off camera about that, and just really interesting guy. Of course, he has a great channel, and all the stuff that he does with watches is awesome.
Yeah.
But just give him a chance, I think, to talk about his faith story a little bit too. So that's one of my goals with this channel is to start to grow that a little bit. And I've slowed way down on watches, and I don't know. I'm not sure where I'm going with watches right now. I've gotten to the point where it's I don't know. I've seen enough watches where I'm just not that interested in other watches, and I think it's just culminating into like I'm more interested in maybe doing faith stories with different YouTubers out there and see what they have to say. Would be interesting, like you did. You and I did that. Man, what was that? 4 months ago? That was a while ago.
Yeah.
So
Was it 4?
yeah, it was
It doesn't seem like it, but yeah.
3 months ago. It's been a while. It's been a while, I think. So anyway, thank you, Jim, for joining us. Sorry about being late, and everybody out there. Sorry about the late time. For those that wanted to watch it live, missed out on it, but it's on there to watch at your leisure. So that'll be good. So
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Tim.
yep. And you want to end this with your favorite phrase to end your videos?
Yes, sir. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except through him.
Amen, brother. All right, everybody. We'll see you later.